We are live. This is Sound Booth Theater Live, and these are the cold reads for So You Want to Be a Hero, Book 1. This is part 2 of the cold reads, and we are joined yet again by Mr. Jaime Castle. How you doing?
Good.
Good. All right. We have, oh, wait, I need to make sure. I almost forget. Go live, Instagram. We are live. No! This is Sound Booth Theater Live. There we go. Okay. These are the cold reads. Killed it. So You Want to Be a Hero, no. Why is it still playing? And we are joined. Why is it still playing? Mr. Jaime Castle. How you doing?
Good.
No. All right. Where is this playing? Oh, wait, here it is. There we go. Okay. That was from Instagram. My bad, guys. Okay. I do not understand how Instagram Live works. This is the first time that's happened where it was playing live while I was recording. But we'll see how it continues to work. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming back. Carrie Bartkowiak. I don't know how to pronounce your name, Carrie.
Man, some narrator you are. You'd be sending a pronunciation guide right now.
Shit. I swear that thumbnail cover looks just like Larry Correa.
The what?
The cover? The cover for me? So You Want to Be a Hero?
It's me.
It's you.
Damn, yeah. I mean, way smaller.
So I guess you look just like Larry Correa.
You know, Larry's a big dude, and I'm not. Trying. Can't really gain height, though. That's one of those things that's...
Dude, there's this new procedure, though. Have you heard of it? It's like limb lengthening. You can get taller. You can go taller.
Well, I'm almost 6 feet, and I understand why you'd be looking into this particular technology, but I'm all right.
So what they do is they actually break your femurs, and they put these metal bars, in between them, and there's a ratcheting system. So you go in, you get these things installed.
Dude, this is medieval shit.
Oh, dude, it sounds like a torture device, doesn't it? Then they crank it up. They crank it every few, I don't know, and it takes years of recovery.
Yeah, that's not.
I saw this video of this one dude who put on 7 inches. He was 5'5", and he wanted to be 6 foot tall. And he's I feel so much better. And he's walking around like this, everywhere. It's just oh no, what have you done to yourself, sir?
My knees are going to give out on me at 60, but hey. Hey, am I echoing on your end?
I don't hear echo. Is anybody else hearing echo?
I hear an echo on my end, and I don't have anything else on then. Oh, cool. There we go.
Fixed it. There we go.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, I'm thinking about getting that surgery.
Do it.
So I can be out of commission for. I mean, at my age, I'd probably be 3 or 4 years of recovery.
You don't need your legs.
Yeah, not really. Just need to talk. So I'll get a Professor X hovering wheelchair thing.
Sold. You just sold me.
Yeah,
you just sold me. Yeah.
There we go. That's just for recovery. And by the time I get used to it, I'll be like, why would I want to stand?
That tracks.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good. All right. So we last left our hero.
He's about to find a shelter for the night.
Let's see. He's talking to the horses. Yeah, chapter 5. Here we are. So he found shelter. He found a barn.
Okay.
He was very generously given a rotten leg of lamb to eat.
Very generous by Fargus, indeed.
For the night. He is in the barn.
Fargus?
It was Fargus. It was Fargus.
It was Fargus. I think it was originally Bargus.
Bargus, okay.
We changed it to Fargus.
Yeah, it sounds better, I think. And so, yeah, he's about to wake up in the barn and discover what's going on. If you guys were not here, Danny is our main character. He is a cover band player. He's what, late 20s?
Late 20s is what he says.
Yeah. He says he's late 20s. He was at his regular cover band gig in the suburbs where he was entertaining his regular constituency of wasps, and some bikers showed up and didn't like what he was playing, so they threw him into an arcade machine, which teleported him into a real fantasy world in which he was also thrown out of the bar he was in for playing other stuff that the patrons didn't like. So he's 0-2 for performance tonight. And, with only a leg of lamb and a couple flies to comfort him.
Hey, remind me what WASP stands for?
Damn, you know what? I forget the actual...
I thought it had something to do with, like, Protestant women or something like that.
Yeah. WASP meaning acronym. Here we go. White Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
There
oh wow!
Go.
I thought
you're thinking of like MILFs or like.
Well, I thought that it was a middle-aged, sort of a MILF type of word, but like specific to a culture of like, suburban housewives.
No, I think you just offended a lot of different religions.
Maybe I did.
Pretty sure.
Maybe I did. Anybody, can anybody defend my use of the word wasp, or am I completely wrong? Please chat, let us know. All right. But anyway, here goes. We're starting on chapter 5, and Danny is waking up from his nightmare, we'll say.
I will mute.
Alrighty. Chapter 5. Something tickled my subconscious, and not like that one time Trish tied me up and used a feather to tickle me. And not like that one time Trish tied me up and used a feather to tickle me either. This was more alarming. Let's try again. I'm going to start from the top. Something tickled my subconscious, and not like that one time Trish tied me up and used a feather to tickle me either. This was more alarming. Okay, fine, that was a dream. Trish and I never hooked up, much to my chagrin. The worst part? I really thought the other night was going to be the night. But then... Kurt. The titillation at hand turned out to be a noise that was out of time with the natural rhythm of rainfall still peppering the roof. I couldn't quite place it at first. Then, after a few seconds awake, I realized it seemed almost like someone chewing on something. Gross, smacking, slurping, wet sounds. Oop, I forgot to cover my vent. I was making noise. Okay, so chick 1, we'll call chick 1 Annie.
Annie. Sorry, I was muted, but I had to get that in. Oh, my poor cat's stuck in here.
What was stuck? Why?
I closed the door so I didn't have noise and stuff.
Oh. Okay, let's see. Then, after a few seconds awake, I realized it seemed almost like someone chewing on the roof. I couldn't quite place of rainfall still peppering. The titillation at hand turned out to be a noise that was out of rainfall still peppering the roof. I couldn't quite place it at first. Then, after a few seconds awake, I realized it seemed almost like someone chewing on something. Gross, smacking, slurping, wet sounds.
Hey, where's Ableton?
Oh, good question. Disgusting Leg of lamb eating sounds. There we go.
I volunteer as tribute if you want the actual sound of somebody eating a leg of lamb.
Okay. Please do. Totally down. Only if you can do it in as gross a way as possible.
I have that I hate to call it a disease, but like it has a name, right? Where when people make chewing noises in my presence, I go into fight or flight. And it's been that way my whole life. My poor kids and my wife are like, scarred on the inside because in my older age, like when I was younger, it was always fight. It was like, this is your fault. Cut this out. I don't want, whatever. But like when I had kids, I realized I can't stop that. So my response is flight. And so I'll just kind of pick up my plate and go into another room and I won't say anything. But like as they were younger, like, why is dad leaving?
That's hilarious. Okay. My eyes popped open. My eyes popped open. A fleeting hope passed through me that I was A fleeting hope passed through me that I was awakening from a bad dream by someone in the heart-shaped box chomping on bar nuts and back in my world. Or better yet, my bed, my home, somewhere familiar. Somewhere familiar. My home, somewhere familiar. Except that would be weird if someone was eating in my bed. Okay, I'd prefer the bar. As ever, my luck continued to fail me. I was in a bar with an N. At some point in the night, I'd covered myself with some of the hay to ward off the chill. I glanced around, eyes blurry, brain hazy. Oh, it was just something gnawing on my arm. Wait, what? Let's try this again. Oh, it was just something gnawing on my arm. Wait, what? I shot bolt upward and saw the huddled form of something bent over my arm. Oh, it was just hazy. Oh, it was just something gnawing on my arm. Wait, what? No. Now I know Annie can belch on command.
That was a really cute little belch noise, though. So adorable.
I shot bolt upward and saw the huddled form of something. The leg of lamb. It was still tight in my grip. Even as my mind reconciled with the situation, that sloppy sucking sound and loud munching magnified, and someone's cold, clammy hand held my arm firmly in place. What the hell has my arm? A pale blue screen popped up, reminding me that the screen existed and clearly had pertinent information for me. Hag. Pfft. Dick? No. Dick? No. You're looking at a hag. Dick? No. Dick? No. You're looking at a hag. She was highlighted in blue. Name? Unknown. Occupation? Nope. Occupation? Hag. Race? Unknown. Female? Probably. Special abilities? Unknown, and you probably don't want to know. Weapons? Same as above. What the hell is a hag? I asked all this. I asked all this while watching the haggard-looking thing and feeling its disgusting drool all over my hand and forearm. Hags. Magical, sentient creatures. Magical, sentient creatures who typically appear as wizened old crones. Thriving, or trying to, they normally inhabit areas just on the edge of civilization. Though not a requirement to be old and ugly, they normally are. Most hags are able to cast spells and Most hags are able to cast spells and work various forms of sorcery from meddling to great effect. Most hags are able to cast spells and work various forms of sorcery from meddling to great effect. I jerked my arm free, pulling the leg of lamb away also. Okay, more Halfling Garvis. Okay, here we go. No! To great effect. I jerked my arm free, pulling the leg of lamb away also. No! A voice moaned, sounding physically pained. I guess now might be a good time to remind you that you're unarmed and relatively scrawny. Too bad your sarcasm is utterly worthless in a fight. Would you like to try sweet-talking the hag? I'd like to try wringing your neck. I was interrupted by the sight of the hag spinning toward me. Instinctively, I scrambled backward like a crab into the inn's exterior wall. Spinning toward me. Instinctively, I scrambled backward like a crab.
Just for ongoing commentary, my other cat just opened the door and let the other cat out.
That's awesome. What,
Yep.
From the inside or from the outside?
From the outside, like just kind of, I guess, push the handle down.
Wow.
And
wait, which ones were they?
Raisin opened the door for Izzy.
Oh, wow. So Raisin knew that Izzy wanted out.
I guess so. Pretty talented cats there.
Pretty cool. Rear wall. Who are you? I stammered. Having apparently ventured outside of the highlighting zone, the blue glow vanished, replaced by a putrid green light illuminating the small space around us. Likewise, the effect washed over the visage of a horribly disfigured crone dressed in layers of filthy rags. Her face looked like an old withered map where warts and pockmarks stood as landmarks, but her golden eyes sparkled despite her grim appearance. I am Flem, and I am hungry. Actually, I need to do a character description.
I'm going to send you a message so we don't spoil anything for the folks listening.
I am hungry.
She jabbed at the leg of lamb with one crooked finger.
I have traveled for many days without sustenance. Give me that, so I may feast.
I raised the leg of lamb. It looked utterly pathetic. And yet... This is literally all that I have in this world.
Sent you a Facebook message, Jeff.
Okay.
With a spoiler note.
Right.
And I know Annie is the hag anyway, so it doesn't matter necessarily, but maybe make a note for her at some point.
Right. I'm going to go ahead and type it as Flem in her script, but I'm going to make a note.
All of you listening, make believe you didn't hear that. Didn't hear that at all.
Nope. You didn't hear any of that.
There's no man behind the curtain.
In this world.
I am Flem.
All right. Fixed. This world. I told her. Flem cocked her head.
What path in life would grant a man not but a leg of animal flesh to make his way upon it?
I tried to come up with a witty retort, but the truth was I had no idea. I was still trying to figure out why I was even in this world. I was a bard, I stammered, from a faraway land. I played and sang songs. I'm sorry, did you say your name was Flem? I don't like that. I don't like that performance. I was a bard. And I'm going to get rid of that. Bard from a faraway land. I played and sang songs. I'm sorry, did you say your name was Flem? At that, what passed for eyebrows rose on Flem's face. She stood and licked her horribly chapped lips, an act that made my stomach lurch. An act that made my stomach lurch. Lips. An act that made my stomach lurch. Had I said something wrong?
A faraway land, you say?
She asked. Yeah. Though my response was reluctant with her towering over me, I nodded.
A bard.
Her head cocked. A musician and singer.
You lie to me.
I'd say skip the she snapped and just barrel on to the next line in her dialogue.
Got
It's
it.
pretty clear. She snapped.
You lie to me. You lie to me.
There we go.
You lie to me. Bards have instruments. You have none. Who would call themselves a bard and yet have no simple thing with which to make music? To make music.
True enough, but I was a bard, just not a very good one, apparently.
Tell me more.
Flem demanded. Well, my loot was destroyed earlier this evening. Last night. By a crazed group of drunken brogs who smelled worse than this stable. They didn't appreciate my style of music. The screen flashed.
New objective. Make a bargain with the hag.
Let's see. We need a screeny pop-up sound.
Reward unknown.
I frowned, which I'd been doing a lot lately. How the hell do I do that?
Hey, I can't give you all the answers.
I'd settle for a few. Flem cackled.
A bard so bad that his instrument got destroyed by mindless barbarians. That is indeed a conundrum for you.
Cackled. Her eyes flitted toward the leg of lamb.
And yet, you still managed to possess an item of great value to me.
This thing? I held up the meat, chunks of its flesh hanging by strands.
I have not eaten for many days.
The hag repeated. That makes two of us. I wasn't counting what little I'd choked down earlier against my will.
Give it here. I will gladly devour it.
I regarded the leg of lamb. It was revolting, but it was still mine. Sooner or later I'd have to eat something. Just that thought alone nearly called back the puke. Puke. I have to keep it for myself, I said. Then, softer, added, not that I'm looking forward to it. Puke. I have to keep it for myself. I can get rid of this, huh? For myself. Not that I'm looking forward to it.
You are young. Too young, some would say. You can survive without much. But I require more. Give it here. Or give it here.
Carrie Bartkowiak. Good point, sort of, Carrie, but it like I'm so used to these kinds of voices that it has very little effect on my voice, so I'm good. Appreciate the thought, though. She's saying since it's Annie, yeah. Plus, everyone wants to hear Hag Jeff. Since it's Annie, she's saying, well, I don't have to do the raspy voice. I can just do a regular voice. But that's, less fun. And she's saying that to preserve my voice, which I appreciate. But it's more fun this way. Besides, it's only a 3-hour day. No. No, I did it again. I'm letting my program go wild. Did I reverse it? I accidentally reversed it. There we go.
Give it here.
She lurched for me, but I drew back. Oh, and guess what? She reeked. Par for the course. Not like the raw sewage stench of cur. Not like the raw sewage stench of cur, mind you. More like that sort of rotting plant life by ponds and creeks. Like something had died recently and hadn't been washed away completely. What was it about this world that everything stank in equally offensive ways? I really have to make a bargain with this creature? Yup. Enjoy yourself, kid. What if she wants my body? Not even she is that desperate. I swallowed. Nothing ever came easy. Our eyes met, and I was instantly reminded of the time when I was a kid and my mother brought me to visit Graham in the retirement home. That's all right. Food fragments hung about her lips and chin. Some kind of eye goop trickled down. That might have been infected. Her hair was matted with muck. As my gaze passed across Flem's warts, an idea came to me. Bargaining was a two-way street. You ask me to give you the only source of food I have.
What would you offer in return?
That wasn't supposed to be Flem saying that.
Oh, oops. Food I have. What would you offer in return? Source of food I have. What would you offer in return? Flem's eyes lit up.
Would you make a bargain with this old woman? Would you give her a meal in exchange for something that you desire or require?
Yeah.
I hesitated. This had to be played right or else I'd fail another objective, and I wasn't sure I'd always receive a second chance. I suppose it would depend, I said, dangling the temptation before her in the form of a rotted carcass.
Just realized I burped while not on mute. Could have recorded that.
Ah, damn it.
How many folks are hanging with us today?
So far we're at 70.
Is anyone here? Is anyone enjoying this silly book that I wrote for you guys?
Yeah, would love to hear more opinions.
Carrie is quickly becoming my favorite person in the world. Carrie Bartkow. Damn it, that is hard.
Bartkowiak.
Bartkowiak.
I'm going to guess that's it.
Awesome.
Loving
That's
it.
good to hear. Cool.
After a moment of silence, Flem clapped. Clapped. Nice how that timed. Clapped. That one. Clapped. It scared the hell out of me. I think I even jumped.
Let us do it. Let us strike a bargain, and then I will feast, and you may return to your slumber.
I smiled like a game show host. What would you offer me for this glorious leg of lamb? I held the lamb high, feeling like an idiot. Let's see.
What's that say? I can't read it.
Hold on. Oops. There we go. It says gross meat sound as he waggles it. I'm actually going to replace that here. Copy. Rename. Paste. There we go. All right. Flem stared at it, saliva already dripping from her mouth. I noticed the meat had a sickly green slime on it and couldn't decide if it was from phlegm or just the natural spoiling process doing its thing. Either way, there was no way I was going to eat something so disgusting. The fact that it looked appealing to anyone, even her, was beyond me.
I'm gonna waste a second asking you. You doing Dragon Con?
Yeah, of course.
We got 3 booths this year. So we got the booth that was next to us in addition to the 2 that we had. So I'm thinking about having these books printed early and sell, whatever I can of these. Of course, that'll help get reviews when it actually comes out and all of that. But
good call. You want to set me up on the signing schedule as well?
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Happy to. And like, if you want to, if you're inviting any of the other dudes that I'm narrating for Aethon.
Well, so everybody is invited. We kind of put out a Aethon or Dragon Con's coming or you, and we've gotten a shit ton of responses from our authors. Last year we had 30 something of them. Hopefully this year we get everyone returning and then a bunch more, but we'll have to take a look, you and me, at the list of who's coming and see who's on your roster. And
yeah, I think Harmon said that he's going to make Vegas, but he's not going to make Dragon Con, I think.
Okay.
So Reborn Assassin, I mean, like, here's the thing, even if they don't come, if you print some of those books, I can at least sign them.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea.
So
okay.
There's that. So Rhino Z and also Kerberos.
Yeah.
So I think those are the
I think Kerberos is coming. I think he told me he'll be there. Chris Taylor.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. The fact that it looked appealing to anyone? Right. Feeling like an idiot. Flem stared at it, saliva all... Flem stared at it, saliva already dripping from her mouth. I noticed the meat had a sickly green slime on it and couldn't decide if it...
A bard with no instrument is no bard at all, Flem said. For my part, I will replace the lute that was destroyed earlier this evening.
I tried desperately to recall anything I knew about bards. They seemed kind of lame. I guess that meant I sounded kind of lame. After a moment, I said, "It's not only the instrument that makes a bard, but an ability to weave a tapestry of words and songs and woo an audience with them." Let's try it again. After a moment, I said, "It's not only the instrument that makes a bard, but an ability to weave a tapestry of words and songs and woo an audience with them."
This chick cackles a lot.
Oh, she's a hag. Of course she does.
All kinds of cackling.
Woo an audience with them.
So, you doubt your abilities as well?
I heard Kerr's voice in my head again, telling me how awful I was in no uncertain terms. Let's just say that I can admit they may not exactly be my strongest attribute at the moment. Flem frowned.
You ask a steep price for that sliver of meat.
Sliver? There's so much juicy meat here. I swallowed back a gag. More than enough to sustain you for several days. That alone would be worth the price. Let's see how this comes off. Sliver? There's so much juicy meat here. I swallowed back a gag. More than enough to sustain you for several days. That alone would be worth the price.
You strike a fine deal, young bard. Woo them you shall. You strike a fine deal.
Flem's hands waved in front of me, then almost seemed to dance as she spoke in low tones, muttering some sort of phrase 3 times before finally speaking to me again. Muttering some sort of phrase 3 times before finally speaking to me again. All right, can she just ad-lib the whatever the chanting is?
Yep. Will you take some direction?
Yes.
Before finally speaking to me again.
Gotcha.
Right? Because she's speaking, but she's not speaking to him.
Flem's hands waved in front of me, then almost seemed to dance as she spoke in low tones, muttering some sort of phrase 3 times before finally speaking to me again. Flem's hands waved in front of me, then almost seemed to dance as she spoke in low tones, muttering some sort of phrase 3 times before finally speaking to me again.
Give me the leg of lamb, and desire shall come to fruition before the sun sets once more.
That's it? You expect me to hand this over without seeing anything in exchange? No, I did it again. No. Okay. Undo. There we go.
More.
That's it? You. That's it? You expect me to hand this over without seeing anything in exchange? Flem spat a gob of mucus at me, which fortunately missed. I got of gob of here. I don't know if that's in your manuscript or not.
Yep, just killed it.
Okay, all right. Spat a gob of mucus at me, which fortunately missed.
Foolish man, you think I can make something appear out of thin air when I am so weakened with hunger? Even one such as I cannot perform so grand a feat, but believe what I tell you. What you seek shall be yours. Even now, the gods conspire to deliver it into your hands. The instrument will find you.
I think the best part of this for not just the author, but the listener is that you're able to take a real quick line and quadruple the length of that line, giving the reader far more time with the book than they would have if somebody was just reading this typically. Mm-hmm. I kind of love that. That's one of the reasons I love listening to SBT books to begin with, because it's just like the most immersive experience. And there's a lot of great narrators out there, but I don't think any of them give us quite the same experience that you guys do.
One thing that that's important about audiobook narration that I think, again, is the orthodoxy teaches this out of actors is the importance of rhythm and melody. The orthodoxy of narration teaches you remain constant, remain stable with your rhythm, deliver consistently.
Yeah.
And this is so that people can sort of listen at their own pace, right? They can change the speed of the narration and, it'll be reliably easy to understand. I get that to a certain extent, but my goal is to make anyone who's listening loath to change the speed. Because the speed, like the instrument will find you bit right there, that's, a perfect example of exactly what you were talking about, where it's like the performer should have used that paragraph to capture the listener into a certain focus.
Yeah.
And then that last sentence is supposed to really hammer home. So you let it breathe and you extend it to really make those words impact much better.
Well, this is like the last medium alive that has held on to the I don't know, lack of performance. I don't mean it that way against folks that just read, right? There's great guys out there like Scott Brick who are reading a book, and when they coach somebody, they're teaching them that you're reading the book. And
Mm-hmm.
But you watch television and movies, and there's nuance to every line that they say. The director
Mm-hmm.
will cut them and say, "Hey, do it like this, say it like that." I've always said that dialogue is music, and
Yes.
then I watched Adam Sorkin. What's his name? Dude that wrote. I can't remember his first name. Sorkin, famous writer, Hollywood writer. And I was watching his masterclass, and he said, dialogue is music. And there's this crazy validation for me. to hear somebody who's so sort of renowned in, he writes very quick, snappy, fun dialogue in everything that he writes. When I write a book, when I go back over it, I read it out loud as if the narrator, especially if I know who the narrator is going to be. Black Badge, I read it like Roger Clark with James Crowley's voice, hoping to get sort of the inflection that the narrator will perform on there, so I can hear how he's going to perform it. I just really love that you are taking the time with these lines that, I didn't rewrite the Bible here. Rhett and I did not write the greatest thing ever written, but like we took dialogue very, very seriously, because that's what moves a story forward far more than any of the narrative and prose does, is what are the characters feeling? And it's so hard to deliver that on paper, which is why Rhett and I write for audio and, hopefully eventually television, film, whatever the story might be. But you take the dialogue that we wrote for audio and perform it the way that, honestly, I expected it to be performed on audio.
Right.
Aaron Sorkin. Thank you, Corey. What did I say? Adam? So for the longest time, I thought he wrote Gilmore Girls, and I was wrong. But he constantly gets told that he wrote Gilmore Girls because the guy that wrote it is so much like him that people kind of get confused. He wrote the West Wing, which again is very snappy dialogue. That's probably honestly what he's most famous for. Few Good Men, as far as a movie goes. He wrote one of my favorite shows ever that got canceled, which was Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. That was Matthew Perry right after Friends. And I thought it was absolutely fantastic, but I think people were really wanting a comedy out of Matthew Perry, and they weren't able to accept the dramedy that was Studio 60. And it also came out at the same time as 30 Rock, and 30 Rock was a comedy about a SNL type show, and then Studio 60 was a drama about an SNL type show.
Right.
And so people kind of picked 30 Rock over Studio 60.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, sorry, I'm rambling and wasting time, but thank you. You're doing a great job.
Thanks. All right, let's see.
We'll find you.
And my singing? What really sucked was my whole life I'd believed myself to be a fine singer. Even paid the bulk of my bills doing so. My band opened for some pretty big acts back in the day. I don't know what happened, but here I sounded like a hog being run over by a tractor. In Willistown, crooning some old cover tunes was enough for my usual crowd of cougars. In Willistown, crooning some old cover tunes was enough for my usual crowd of cougars. I was young, virile, and had nice hair, too. Maybe they just didn't care what I sounded like. No, that wasn't true. This place was just getting to me. Flem extended an open palm and wagged her spindly, twisted fingers. They reminded me of a tree branch in the dead of winter. A piece of loose skin stretched between two of them like a duck's foot.
First, the lamb,
she said. I reluctantly handed the food over, and Flem snatched it away before I could change my mind. Get rid of that. I reluctantly handed the food over. I just gave my sound effects guy a note. Meat snatched. That's it. Over. And now I'm a note to Annie. Snatch meat.
Oh, uh-oh. It's an HR problem that you're about to have. I always tell people I'm glad Athon doesn't have an HR department, because I'd probably be in it all day long. Not for inappropriate things I say to women, obviously, but It's just me and Rhett, so I could say whatever the hell I want.
Underneath it all, Rhett is just bubbling, wishing that he had a department to complain to.
He is. He's begging for it. Every night, I bet he goes and tells his wife all the horrible things I say. He was a pastor. Man, just jokes. I like making jokes. I like making people laugh. I like people making people super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which I think comes through in this book a lot.
Yeah, it does. I like it. I like being made uncomfortable by books. Okay. Mind. She fell upon it like a ravenous wolf. My mind. She fell upon it like a ravenous wolf.
If you write slurp the meat, you're fired.
For the next several minutes, my ears were assaulted by the gruesome sounds of Flem the hag devouring the leg. When she was full, when I thought she was finally done, she broke open the bone and sucked at the marrow from the bottom, tucking whatever scraps were left away in her... Tucking whatever scraps were left away in her cloak. Left away in her cloak. I covered my mouth with my arm, dry heaving, and regretting losing my bargaining chip before guaranteeing she'd fulfill her promises. Okay, I kept my end of the bargain.
You have indeed.
The hag devouring the leg.
You have indeed.
Her face was freshly slick with animal grease, the green light that continued to illuminate the barn enhancing the oily gloss. And here I am, fresh out of wet naps. Flem clearly had no clue what I was referring to. Martha Stewart would have soiled herself if she ever saw this. Once again, the hag waved her hand and muttered some sort of incantation into the night air. She reached into the depths of her rags and produced a small vial of liquid as green as the light. She reached into the depths of her rags and produced a small vial of liquid as green as the light surrounding us.
When, and only when, the first part of your bargain find its way to you, drink this.
Had no clue what I was referring to. Martha Stewart would have soiled herself if she ever saw this. Once again, the hag waved her hand and muttered some sort of incantation into the night air. She reached into the depths of her rags and produced a small vial of liquid as green as...
I'm looking around my room right now to make sure there's no demons that have just been summoned.
She said, offering it to me. I took it like it was a sample of her urine and held it up to the meager light. It seemed to pulse with some sort of energy. Item obtained. Vial of musical aptitude. Maybe now you won't suck. Maybe now you won't suck. Musical aptitude. Maybe musical aptitude. Maybe now you won't suck. You want me to drink this? I asked, incredulous. Flem cocked her head and stared at me.
You ask stupid questions. Of course, you must drink it. How else will you become that which you desire? The potion will give you the skill that you seek, but only when you have received the first part.
The instrument you promised. What will happen if I drink it before then?
Bad things,
she said in a more than ominous tone. She said in a more than ominous tone. Not over the tip.
I believe that's called a Freudian slip. Poor Annie. She has nothing to do with this conversation between us. And she's right in the middle of it. Annie, if you ever hear this, I'm so sorry. You were not a human being in my mind that we were talking to. And now I realize...
She said in a more than ominous tone. Okay, so when I get that, then I drink the potion. Flem smiled and revealed rows of sharpened teeth.
Yes. First the one, then the other, and finally, the third.
The third?
Everything happens in threes,
Flem said.
It is the way, the only way of the gods. Magic once given returns thrice. Gratitude is that which is sought. Goodness imparted does likewise. You have helped an old woman on this night, and so we have struck a bargain.
Objective completed. You have made a bargain with the hag. You have gained +1 in bartering. Your bartering is now 6. That might not have been the best idea. But you said... If I said to jump off a cliff, would you? New objective. Procure a new instrument. Reward? A new instrument. No crap. Okay then, I said to Flem, frustrated. Before tomorrow night. That's what you said, isn't it? She nodded.
Before the sun sets once more.
Are those different things?
Before the sun sets once more. It will be as I foretold. then the second, and then...
The third. Yeah, I got that part. But what is the third? How will I know? Flem continued wearing that putrid smile. I swore I would have nightmares about those crooked tooth daggers until my deathbed.
All things in three. Three is the way. The only way for those like me, and you will discover it soon enough when you search within.
She licked her lips and rose, her rags whispering around her ankles.
Now I will continue on my way, having been sated by your bargain.
Really? But it's pouring outside.
Are you inviting her to spend the night?
I panicked as Flem turned, hoping she hadn't taken it that way.
I mind not the storm that rages. As the meat of that lamb gave me strength, so too does the wrath of nature.
She glanced back over her shoulder.
Good fortune to you, young man. And remember the three.
With that, she stepped out into the stormy night. I blinked once, and she was gone, along with the eldritch green light that she'd somehow produced. I raised the small vial to my eyeline. Remarkably, unlike everything else in this godforsaken, or gods forsaken, it seemed, it was utterly clean. Should we put a godforsaken something? World?
I was talking and I was saying the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Remarkably, unlike everything else in this godforsaken or gods-forsaken, it seemed world. Unless we want to do world before the M dash. What makes more sense verbally to you?
I think after the dash.
Okay.
Or gods forsaken, it seemed. Remarkably, unlike everything else in this god-forsaken, or gods forsaken, it seemed, world, it was utterly clean. Hi, I'm here for my drug test, I muttered to myself. Got my sample right here. I shook the bottle, and it tumbled out of my hand and clattered in the dirt.
Man, nothing I have is making a sound. Damn it. Got all this liquid around and nothing's making a liquid sound.
Let's see. Yeah, all of my containers are too big. I shook the bottle, and it tumbled out of my hand and clattered in the dirt. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I swore and swept it up. Oh, shit. I swore and swept it up, thankful I wasn't on hard ground. Was I insane for even considering... Here, one sec. Can you go ahead and mute there?
Oh, my bad, dude. I'm sorry.
Was I insane for even considering drinking anything given to me by a strange hag? Imagine trusting a vial from some random hobo back home. Hello, accidental overdose. Sighing, I tucked it into my pocket. It wasn't like I'd lost anything of any value, and who knew what Flem might have done to me had I denied her. Maybe would have turned me into lunch with those teeth. I shuddered before turning over to try and get back to sleep. Then I rolled onto my back, worried something else might sneak up on me. Sleep would not come easy. Boom. Done. That's a chapter. Ah. All right.
That was fun. That's one of my favorite chapters in the book.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Hag was fun to write.
Oops. We got a 6 in here somewhere on accident. There it is. I have. What would you offer in return? Chapter 6. Sleep came easier than expected. I must have been more exhausted than I'd realized. Chirping birds and a brilliant blue sky greeted me when I awoke just after dawn. It would have been nice. It would have been a nice start to the morning, if not for a sudden urge in the spit of... Nope. It would have been a nice start to the morning, if not for a sudden urge in the pit of my stomach, leaning me over to one side where I vomited everywhere. Ugh. I felt like crap. At least I'd only puked. Getting the runs in a place that didn't look like they knew what toilet paper was would have been much, much worse. That damnable blue box splattered itself across my tear-smeared vision. Current health, 65%. Food poisoning. Good job! You ate rancid food. Your belly is less empty, but you are sick. You're lucky you only had a bite. The effect should wear off shortly. Ugh. Seems about right. I knew that leg of lamb wasn't good. What clued you in? Yeah, well, you weren't exactly offering filet mignon last night. Correction. Fergus wasn't offering filet mignon. Whatever. Listen up, you worthless box. I'm starving and I have no money. So if you have any ideas on how to correct that situation, you could go ahead and share them. Because, you know, I'm in some weird world with absolutely nothing except for some vial of green goo that I apparently have to wait to drink. The screen didn't respond. Figured. And what about Flem? She was as hideous as a 60-something Karen full of Botox and Bud Light. Old and weak. Food poisoning might kill her. Food poisoning might kill her. Then again, maybe not. She seemed more accustomed to working with, I don't know, sickness? It didn't make any sense, but I figured if she was traipsing about the town dressed in a schmata... How's that pronounced? Schmate? No, that's not how you spell it.
Schmat.
Schmat. Hold on. Let me make sure.
Schmata.
Schmata.
No,
It is schmata.
Gosh, look at you. That's why you're the narrator and you look shit up. I've always said that word wrong.
A rag, ragged, or shabby garment, yeah. So I thought... Okay, so I saw the word and I just tried out a pronunciation. I thought that was like a slur, though.
Schmuck.
The origins of the term schmata are Yiddish and usually refer to old or torn pieces of clothing. Huh.
I'm unaware of that being any kind of vulgarity.
Here we go.
But
Something worthless, an abused person, similar to a doormat. For instance, a spouse who gets berated in public, a person who gets taken advantage of, or a piece of clothing that does not have to be something old and falling apart. Huh.
Well,
Cool.
do we leave it?
Yeah, leave it.
Okay,
It works.
okay.
Totally works. Found dressed in a schmata, she might not really care about whether or not the lamb was rotten. Me, on the other hand, my mouth tasted like butt. I needed to rinse. Schmata, she might not really care about whether or not the lamb was rotten. Me, on the other hand, my mouth tasted like butt. I needed to rinse. There's a puddle over there. There's a puddle over there. I'm not drinking out of a puddle. What am I, an animal? Well, your dad just slept. Animal? Well, your dad just sleep in a stable. Animal? Well, your dad just sleep in a stable. I'll survive until I can find something in a mug or glass or even a horn. Suit yourself. Thirst level, parched. I felt awful and was uneasy about my meeting with the hag. Hell, maybe it wasn't the leg of lamb after all. Maybe just being so close to Flem had poisoned me somehow. I said food poisoning, not hag poisoning. Yeah, okay. I get it. Poisoning. Yeah, I get it. Poisoning. Yeah, okay, I get it. Hey, 68%? I'm not drunk anymore. That should count for something, right? I don't make the rules. That got me thinking about something Flem had said. The gods were preparing to help me. How many gods exist here? Pyrrhune citizens worship many gods and goddesses, including, but not limited to, Ludos, god of war, Frey, the goddess of light and shadow, Baru, god of summer's flame, Wokaner, god of the emptiness and void, and Procuma, the god of death. The goddess. Okay, gotta start over on that one. Pyrrhune citizens worship many gods and goddesses, including, but not limited to, Ludos, god of war, Frey, the goddess of light and shadow, Baru, god of summer's flame, Wokaner. That's the one that Wokaner. 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 There we go, let's try that. God of summer's flame, Wokaner, god of the emptiness and void, and Procuma, the goddess of death. Procuma. Q or Q? I think Q. Procuma. Maybe.
That's how I heard it. Procuma.
That one. Wokaner, god of the emptiness and void, and Procuma. God of summer's flame, Wokaner, god of the emptiness and void, and Procuma, the goddess of death. Pyrrhune citizens worship many gods and goddesses, including, but not limited to, Ludos, god of war, Frey, the goddess of light and shadow, Baru, god of summer's flame, Wokaner, god of the emptiness and void, and Procuma, the goddess of death. Is that all? Not remotely. Shall I continue? No, that's okay. I felt pretty dumb, conversing with whatever this thing was in my own head, but I had to admit it was nice to have company in such a bizarre place. Still hoped to snap out of this and find myself back in Willistown, except more and more I was losing faith it would happen. I can't remember ever sleeping while dreaming, not to mention the myriad other things I'd experienced over the past 24 hours. I'd been so distracted with the screen, I kind of forgot I was walking. Back on the main road, I came across a set of small footprints that led off into the wild woods on the western periphery of the town. The hazy peaks of several mountains rose in the distance, and I got the sense that I followed the tracks. Let's see, did I mess any of that up? 24 hours. I'd been so distracted with the screen, I kind of forgot I was walking. Back on the main road, I came across a set of small footprints that led off into the wild woods on the western periphery of the town. The hazy peaks of several mountains rose in the distance, and I got the sense that I followed the... The hazy peaks of several mountains rose in the distance, and I got the sense that if I followed the tracks, they would eventually bring me to them. The hazy peaks of several mountains rose in the distance, and I got the sense that if I followed the tracks, they would eventually bring me to them. No doubt, the footprints belonged to Flem. I could tell by the way they dragged like zombies from The Walking Dead. Like some zombie. I could tell by the way they dragged like some zombie from The Walking Dead, though there were other, more pressing matters to attend to at the moment. New objective. Obtain food. Reward? Food. Duh. You don't actually have to tell me that. Believe it or not, I'm pretty good at figuring out when I need to eat. And I currently wasn't hungry. My stomach was still knotted from the food poisoning. You'll feel better, and then return to being starving. I said, I know how it works. I gradually lumbered back to the center of Nahal, taking my time since that seemed to be all I was in control of. And wouldn't you know it, as my feet sloshed across the wet mud of what seemed like the town center, the screen was right. Current health, 70%. Effects from food poisoning have worn off. You are starving. I was indeed. Nausea was promptly replaced by a hunger pang. Sensations in this world sure did progress aggressively. Townsfolk went about their daily chores, all dressed in medieval-style clothing, one of which was a baker carrying his goods down the path, and he seemed like a potential opportunity. In an instant he began glowing that blue-white glow. Name? Murk. Occupation? Baker. Race? Wellick. Special abilities. Cream pastries that'll make you cream. Weapons? Probably a rolling pin. That's gross. Besides, they can't be that good. Bet. I fell into step with him, noting his obvious girth. Eating well had apparently never been an issue for him. He had a white beard, and flour dusted across his face and apron. Then I realized his beard was actually red, and was just also coated in flour. I gave Mork the baker a cheery greeting. "Hello!" The man looked me up and down, and I could tell he wasn't impressed. Couldn't blame him either. I wasn't all that much to look at, especially not after sleeping on hay and puking everywhere. All right, let's get some Gary Furlong in this production. What do you say?
Mork feels like Gary.
Yeah. All right, and we'll say Baker, kind of grumpy, but can be persuaded, but has a bit of a soft spot. Not super important character, right? He's kind of a throwaway.
Yep, this is just a one-off right here.
Any old UK accent will do.
I love the little Sins Corner logo in the screen.
I missed that. I think I can change it, actually. Did I get Gary? Yeah, here we go. Paste. His name is Mork. Can I change that? Settings, is that it? Or is it edit? Layout? Add item? No. Banners? Brand. There we go. Let's go back to SPT. There we go.
Like
SPT.
magic. Look at that.
Like magic. Like magic.
And
Dude, you know where I got that from, right?
Sounds like Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Nope.
Okay,
Got it from Chucky, Child's Play.
Interesting. Never would have gotten that.
Carrie Bartkowiak says, "Oh, proper use of myriad. Happy sigh." Yeah, me too. I get the same thing when people actually use myriad properly.
I don't know if you saw my comment. Every editor I ever have tries to get me to change that. They want me to add of after it. I'm like, no, stop it. No. Leave me alone. This is correct. Like, well, a lot of readers won't think so. I'm like, I don't care if a lot of readers are dumb. I'm writing it properly.
Yes, agreed. Agreed. All right, let's create a Gary track. Gary. And Gary is orange, if you didn't know. He should run for president.
Ha!
Okay. "I got nothing to give you, beggar," he said. "Now leave me be." I pretended to be shocked. "A beggar? Me? No, good sir, I would implore you not to think of me as such. I am a bard, gifted with the skill of spinning yarns and singing tunes to entertain the masses. May as well embrace the role I was playing, I figured. Mork studied me again. "Masses? Pfft, where's your instrument then? Bard." Oops. Mork studied me. "Masses?"
I got something for you. So when I wrote that line, a beggar? No, me. He was totally playing up the Ren Fair.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
Right? That's why he says I might as well embrace the role.
Yeah, I got it. Good call. This sounds fun. Right. A beggar? Me? No, good sir. I would implore you not to think of me as such. I'm going to do a terrible British accent, too. Like, ooh, no. He needs to realize he's not doing a British accent right now. And then change. Ooh, not to think of me as such. I am a bard, gifted with the skill of spinning yarns and singing tunes to entertain the masses. May as to think of me as such. I am a bard, gifted with the skill of spinning yarns and singing tunes to entertain the masses. May as well embrace the role I was playing. Bard. Balls. Where's your instrument then? Bard. Balls. I, was regrettably waylaid last eve, and it was destroyed by the sort of hooligans one would hope never to find themselves in the company of. Alas, I am left with my voice alone. Let's bring this real close to the balls. Bard. Balls. I, was regrettably... Not that close. Balls. I, was regrettably waylaid. The baker grunted. The baker grunted. Fine. Why don't you sing me a ditty then? And perhaps, if it's any good, I'll throw you a few crusts as thanks. a man can hardly sustain themselves upon mere crusts, my good sir. A few coins may well be a better option. Mork shook his head. I've scant few myself. Why do you think I'm selling this lot? Are me loaves not good enough for the likes of you? Come on now, give me a tune as we plod. I might as well just tell him go Irish. Just from the way it's written.
So just talk like Gary.
Yeah, just be Irish. Just be Gary.
Just be Gary.
Plod. Very well. The prospect of only being paid in crusts did little for my pride, but the gnawing in my stomach was content with the proposal. I cleared my throat. I cleared my throat. Oh, man. You're not really going to... You're not really going to try improvising again, are you? I'll do better today. I'll do better today. No doubt. It would be hard to envision a worse performance than last night. You know, you could offer up some helpful advice every now and again. Damn it. Again. You're right. Don't suck. How's that? You're right. Don't suck. How's that? How's that? There we go. Don't suck. How's that? Unreal. I took a breath and started singing. On the road one fine morning. Let's see. Let me try something that's... I think I'm copying the last melody. On the road one fine morning, strolled a baker and a bard, the smell of fresh bread, the taste of warm lard. I don't use any lard in me recipes, Mork the baker interrupted. Well, except perhaps in the sweets and confections, but me bread don't have none. It's not customary to interrupt when one is singing. Well, it's a stupid song. Sing something else. Would you like to access your catalogue of songs? No, shut up. What did you say to me?
That one's out loud.
No, shut up. What did you say to me? The baker said, stopping mid-step. Frustration got the best of me, and I didn't realize I'd answered the screen out loud. Not you, I said, bowing. Why the hell was I bowing? I wasn't talking to you. You, I said, bowing. Why the hell was I bowing? I wasn't talking to you. You. Then who were you talking to? Only me here, you lad. You. Then who were you talking to? You. Then who was you talking to? Only me here, lad. Now, if you can't be cordial, No, seriously. Okay, fine. A new song? Here we go. I took a deep breath and started again. Do you know the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man? Do you know the Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane? I continued as one would expect until the song was done. Done. Ha ha! So, what do you think? I asked. Mork sighed. Weren't the rousing ditty I had in mind. Was looking for something, I don't know, more heroic. Of places far off and heroes long lost. Besides, this is Main Street, not whatever you called it. This is boring stuff you're singing about. That song's actually about a serial killer, I'll have you know. Nothing more exciting than that. Serial what now? All right. The song was boring, but your voice was not bad. Wasn't good, neither. You sure you're a bard? I thought my advice was helpful. Did you not understand it? Shut up and bring up the catalogue. You think? The same 6 songs appeared in front of my eyes. One popped out at me, and it sure as hell wasn't the one I'd sung last night.
Is that a screeny bling?
Yep. That one. As I was about to sing a called, 'Twas morn in the eve, the baker said.
Sing a song. You said sing a called.
As I was about to sing a song called 'Twas morn in the eve, the baker said. No, what? How about a dance instead? You dance, right? Right? Well, not Dance nice for me, and I'll give you a whole pastry. How's that sound? Dance? Dance? I asked with trepidation. I've never danced before in my life. I didn't even go to prom in high school. You heard the man. Dance, monkey. I'm not a stripper. I'm not just going to dance because some dude tells me to. Oh, silly me. I thought you were hungry. And that, folks, is how bad life choices are made. Hunger level. Dangerous. Dangerous? You haven't eaten properly in days, Danny. This is how the world works. Perhaps a Snickers bar. Perhaps a Snickers bar. Perhaps a Snickers bar. I started to ask if they really had those here, but Mork, the baker, was getting restless. You gonna entertain me, or should I continue my delivery? He asked. These boxes are getting heavy. Heavy. Got anything with cream inside? Maybe that. Hey, got anything? Maybe just a little longer. Hey, got anything with cream inside? You'll get what you get, and you'll like it, Mork said. All right, okay. Dance. I thought of the only dance I could. In my head, I sang the Macarena and began the steps. Both hands out, then flipped them across my arms. I felt like an idiot. Absolutely must have looked like one, too. When I got to the part where I shook my hips, the baker had had enough. The baker had had enough. My hips, the baker had had enough. Okay. Stop, 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 he said. I'll give you something to eat, just to get you to stop. He set the boxes down, reached into one, and tossed something glossy and sugar-coated at me, mumbling about the worst bard he'd ever seen, as he retrieved his goods and left me standing there in the middle of the street with a few of Nahal's citizens staring at me in abject horror. Abject horror. Let me try this whole paragraph again. He set the boxes down, reached into one, and tossed something glossy and sugar-coated at me, mumbling about the worst bard he'd ever seen, as he retrieved his goods and left me standing there in the middle of the street with a few of Nahal's citizens staring at me in abject horror. There we go. Item obtained. Pastry. If it tastes weird, don't worry. The baker has cats. I tore a chunk free and started eating it. Then I called after him. After him. After him.
Thank you for your patronage, my good sir. I wish you well.
Objective completed. You found food. It was sugary, sweet, and the cat hair was fibrous. Be careful. Diabetes exists. Diabetes exists here too. Current health, 82%. Hunger level, acceptable. The pastry was soft, warm, and doughy. Different from breakfast desserts back in my world, and somehow better. More wholesome. Filled my stomach as I delved deeper into the town center. Then I worried it really did have cat hair in it, and that was what was so filling. As good as it was, it wouldn't be enough to sustain me for very long. New objective. Obtain a heartier meal. Reward? Food. Duh. A hearty meal. Right. Like some meat. But not lamb. Something solid. Protein. That sort of thing. Question was, how? The screen offered no advice, but it didn't need to. The answer obvious. With money, of course! No matter the world, money talked. I wasn't sure if barding paid well. It sure as hell didn't back at the heart-shaped box. But I needed to earn somehow. I thought about Flem again and the bargain we'd struck. Before the end of the day, or before the sun sets once more, as she'd put it, she'd promised a replacement for my instrument. Did I tell her it had to be a lute? A guitar would be even better.
So I have before the end of the next day. And you said by the end of the day. I'm actually
Before the end of the...
Sorry, did you stop for me?
Yeah,
I'm actually just wondering which one's right.
Before the end of the day, or...
Hold on. You didn't say that. Oh, yeah. Okay, you said by the end of the day. I have before the end of the next day.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure which one is right. Where do we look? Last chapter.
She said before the sun sets once more. So I guess that would be, in his mind, no matter what, that would be by the end of the day. So it's daytime. Go with what you have.
Okay.
I'll erase next out of my manuscript.
Better. Crap. It better not be a huge harp that I'd have to lug around everywhere. That would be pretty funny. Yeah, for you maybe. I wandered down the town's main thoroughfare. Colorful triangular flags hung from strings draped between buildings that were surprisingly well built, considering they didn't have power tools or machines. The place was sort of bustling. I mean, it wasn't Times Square or anything, but for a podunk town like this, it was lively. A hand-carved sign with an anvil swung above one building, and the screen told me it was a blacksmith. Another had what looked like a needle and thread. Apparently a tailor. There was an apothecary. Maybe they had some good drugs that would snap me out of this whole ordeal. Then I heard a commotion and spotted a band of entertainers performing for the early morning passers-by. Troubadours, Wellick, Dwarf, and Halfling. Wellick. Huh. That was what the tavern owner was. This woman looked just like a human. I guess I'm just a Wellick here?
Can we actually adjust something real quick?
Yeah.
Mork was a Wellick also. And I just have that was what the tavern owner was.
You want me to just say and Mork?
Yeah.
That was what the tavern owner was. And Mork. This woman owner was. And Mork. This woman looked... I guess I'm just a Wellick here? I guess I'm just a Wellick here. You'll pass until you take off my pants, I know. You'll pass until you take off my pants, I know. The Wellick lady was a bit of an acrobat, flipping and cartwheeling around, while the stout dwarf lifted heavy items to show off how strong he was. And yes, he had a legendary beard. The curly-haired halfling played a small pipe of some type. That's a flute. A fellow bard, huh? No lute, though. The small crowd gathered around them didn't seem all that impressed. Surely it was... The small crowd gathered around them didn't seem all that impressed. Surely it was nothing compared to my ravishing rendition. Surely it was nothing compared to my ravishing rendition of The Muffin Man. The troubadours looked anxious that their show wasn't winning anyone over. Sadly, I understood the feeling well. The halfling inched his way toward me. But this is actually, what's his name again?
This is Garvis.
Yeah, Garvis. I want to give Ian a different color. Because he's currently the same color as me, and that's not okay. How do I do this? Why can't I change the color from here? I think I'll have to go somewhere else. All right, let's see. I don't know how to open it from the browser. Oh, I know. Copy link, there we go. Sorry, guys, it's a little boring, but I just need to make sure I'm getting the formatting correct here. And IW. Oh, that's like blue. It looks purple, but it's blue. I personally have a certain amount of color blindness that makes purple and blue hard to distinguish. So we'll leave it. We'll leave it. Never mind. Sorry, Ian, that's your color. Okay. Way toward me.
Do I know Ian?
I don't think you do know Ian. He was in the DCC immersion tunnel. He was Kevin.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But that Scouser accent is like an accent he puts on because that's where he's from, is Liverpool. So he knows the accent really well, but he's got more of a normal English accent, but like it's kind of faded a bit since he's been living in the States for, I don't know, 30 years now.
So he knows how to say water bottle and not whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Beatles.
The Beatles, yeah.
The Beatles.
Okay. And duplicate. Ian. Give him that color. Don't like the music? He asked. How about a magic trick? I'm not really the magic trick kind of guy, I told him. Get rid of that. Oh, just a small one. The halfling got uncomfortably close, so I took a small step back and felt something solid slam into me. Or rather, I slammed into something solid. A strong hand squeezed my shoulder. Well, well, well. It is you again. Well, well. Well, well. It is you again.
Jeff, I got to step out for a second. I'll be back.
All right. 5, 6. Get rid of that. Steve turned into a lady with a bad haircut. Let's see if we can cancel. There we go. Chapter 7. My body was turned around despite my desire not to, until I faced a hulking man. Oh, balls. Not just any man. Kerr the Brog, bald and bearded, scary and tattooed in his fine leather armor. And now his massive axe was strapped on his back in a... what do they call it? A sheath? A scabbard? Either works. I immediately tried to back up as I stammered. Good morning! Good morning, sir, Kerr. Good morning, sir, Kerr. Better, the Brog said. I see you managed to find some place to hole up last night. I ran a hand through my hair, brushing out bits of hay. Well, yes, I did. I can be quite resourceful and street smart. Kerr looked over my head, which wasn't hard for him to do. I could tell he was eyeing the troubadours. You know he was trying to pickpocket you, right? You know he was trying to pickpocket you, right? He said loudly. What? Him? No, he was trying to show me a magic trick. Magic trick. Ha! Aye, the trick would have been when you got home and found your purse strings cut. I glanced back at the halfling, who stared at Kerr like he'd just swallowed curdled milk. Well, joke's on him, I don't have a home or a purse. Right. No job anymore either. No job anymore either, huh? Or a purse. Right. No job anymore either, huh? A purse. Right. No job anymore either, huh? That's not very nice. Huh? That's not very nice. And the leg of lamb that Fargus gifted you with? Lamb that Fargus gifted you with? Oh, just the best, delicious, and exquisite meal, far more generous than I probably deserved after my offenses to you fine folks last night, for which I am eternally sorry. I meant no such harm, I assure you. You did not really eat that, did you? Assure you. You did not really eat that, did you? Eat that, did you? Well. I looked down at the cobbled street. No. No. Good thing! Probably would have killed someone as puny as you! No. No. Did it again. Just do that every time. Okay. No. Kerr laughed again. Who was this good-natured man who'd replaced... Good thing! Who was this good-natured man who'd replaced that grump from last evening? Kerr laughed again. Who was this good-natured man who'd replaced that grump from last evening? Good thing! Kerr laughed again. Who was this good-natured... Who was this... Kerr laughed again. Who was this good-natured man who'd replaced that grump from last evening?
Good thing! Probably would have killed someone as puny as you! As puny as you!
Oh, same guy. He must have noticed a change in my demeanor.
I am just having a bit of fun teasing you. Surely you are not so sensitive.
I glanced around, searching for an out. The troubadours had apparently given up after Kerr called out the halfling loud enough for onlookers to hear. They were starting to pack up their cart. Speaking of Fargus and Volna, I said in what might have been the worst segue ever, where are they and the others in your company? Kerr shrugged.
I do not know. Our quest was completed, and so we have gone our separate ways after our final celebration.
Kerr shrugged.
I do not know. Our quest was completed, so we have gone our separate ways after our final celebration.
Oh, I couldn't help from I couldn't keep from considering what kind of relationship that kind of relationship looked like.
Speak your mind. It just seemed you and the others were... Speak your mind. Speak your mind.
It just seemed you and the others were awful close to just part ways.
Bonds are forged in battle.
Ways?
Bonds are forged in battle, but I knew them barely a fortnight. That is simply the way of us sell swords. Suits me just fine. I am more accustomed to my own company anyway. However, oftentimes the enemies we face are such that they require more brawn than brains to deal with. So that is what I put together. A company of simple-minded yet strong fighters.
You put the company together? Kerr squinted.
You seem surprised by that fact. I sincerely hope for your sake you are not about to say something stupid.
Careful. He's starting to like you.
Not at all. I just thought that you were all
senseless deadards given to bloodlust.
Kerr nodded.
Yes, I know. And as such, most people think us incapable. And as such, most people think us incapable of possessing even a modicum of intelligence. But there are more things in this world that can be accomplished without violence than with it, so I try to engage my intellect more than most of my folk.
I decided to ply his ego a bit. You do seem very wise.
With my intellect, I also have a rather well-developed lack of tolerance for obsequious behavior. My axe is swift to deal with such transgressions.
The screen flashed.
Oops. Your attempt at persuasion failed. Oops. Your attempt at persuasion failed. Do you have an off button? Trust me, you don't want to shut me off.
I held up my hands to Kerr. Again, I meant no offense. Kerr fixed me with a steady glare.
Tell me, bard, what is that accent of yours?
Accent? He was the one with the accent. It was something like Russian, but also maybe Native American. There was a bit of haughtiness to it also, like a royal from England, but maybe that was just his love for obscure words. Honestly, I couldn't describe it if I tried.
What is the farthest you have been from this town? 3 leagues? 10? More?
I didn't even know what a league was. A league is a difficult unit of measurement to define. Historically, 7,500 feet to 15,000 feet. It is now widely accepted as 3 miles. Good question. Not far. It was the truth, after all. I still had no clue why I still had no clue why I'd ended up here.
No wonder you are so pathetic.
Here.
No wonder you are so pathetic. No wonder you are so pathetic.
Here.
No wonder you are so pathetic.
I'm not pathetic, I said, gaining a little courage. I'll have you know, I played in a band. And let's get a little more bassy version of that. Let's get more of a thud, though. And band. He clapped me on the shoulder.
Forgive me. I meant no offense by it.
He gave me a knowing glare, repeating my own words. Pathetic is just not the word I would have chosen to describe me.
Do tell. What would the lowly bard say of himself?
I chose to ignore the question. I may not have the most well-traveled itinerary, but I
do not really have a good singing voice either,
Kerr grinned.
Or even an instrument that you can play to try to scrape up some work. Or even an instrument that you can play to try to scrape up some work. Scrape up some work.
No thanks to you. You.
You made the mistake of trying to con us out of our hard-won gold. I know you realize that you are not the best bard that has ever strummed a lute. Lute?
Hey, I was hungry and had to try to earn a meal. Yes, perhaps I'm not the greatest. Maybe my voice isn't exactly mellifluous.
Yes. What does that mean?
I slapped my knee. Ah! Did I stump the intellectual? Ah! Ah! Did I stump the intellectual? Kerr's features darkened.
Just tell me.
Kerr.
Just tell me what it means before I stomp you into mush, bard.
I swallowed hard. flowing, soothing quality to it. Like honey. Hard. Flowing, soothing quality to it. Like honey. He stuck out his tongue in disgust.
Ugh, never liked honey. Too sweet for my taste.
Disgust.
Ugh, never liked honey. Too sweet for my taste.
Anyway, I was starting to get annoyed. I was able to do a lot more last night when I had my loot. You remember that, right? Before you crushed it? Now I can't even play.
You could not really play it last night either.
Play.
You could not really play it last night either.
Play.
You could not really play it last night either.
You know what? I don't really have to take this kind of abuse.
Last night either.
You know what? I don't really have to take this kind of abuse.
Relax, friend. You were lucky Fargus chose not to rip you into tiny pieces after comparing his betrothed with a bone. I was doing you a favor. Your loot instead of your skull.
Doesn't he understand? That's the point. I make rhymes. Not everything does so easily, but you try regardless. And oftentimes, you have to come up with them on the fly. He back. With them on the fly.
You chose the occupation, did you not?
He asked. I ground my teeth. I didn't choose any of this. The screen flashed. The screen flashed.
Hello.
What is going on out there?
The guy showed up to rebuild the bathroom, and we're going through mold remediation for those of you, whatever. And like my wife is still concerned that like they didn't get the mold, and they showed up without telling us that they were coming today to build. And she's been trying to get somebody to come out and inspect it, blah 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 blah. So I'm just like stuck in the middle of they did what they were supposed to do. She still smells mold. I wanted fried rice, so I decided to make some fried rice while I was downstairs.
Good goal.
That's where I'm at.
Now I want fried rice. Fuck you, man.
It's so good too. I made it with leftover short ribs.
Oh no.
And also rice that I got from an Indian restaurant yesterday. So like the combination of sort of the Indian flavors and the soy sauce and all that is it's delectable.
I've never had Indian food with Asian food spices, so.
Oh, it's nice. It's good. It's a good mix.
Yeah. Sounds good. The screen flashed.
Hunger. Your tummy will start growling soon. Objective updated.
Nope, that's gone.
Hunger. Your tummy will start growling soon. Objective updated. Convince Kerr to buy you a meal.
Now, how the heck am I supposed to do that? Kerr demolished my loot last night for trying that very thing. Now you want me to do it again? What, the rancid meat and food poisoning wasn't punishment enough?
You need more meat.
Ha! That's what she said. If I wasn't so frustrated, I might have smirked at that. No, I need to figure out what the hell is going on here. Like, why I'm in here in the first place and all that. You know, the important stuff. Feeling a stare, I looked up. Kerr watched me curiously. I must have checked out there for a few moments while arguing internally with the screen and hadn't yet responded to his question about choosing this life. Sure I did, I lied. But that doesn't make it any easier. You have to do your best with what you have. You have to do your best with what you have and hope the audience likes it. easier. You have to do your best. You have to do your best with what you have and hope the audience likes it. Likes it.
And do you have a lot of fans of your work?
Kerr asked.
Followers?
I considered how best to answer that. Before the heart-shaped box, I had a pretty decent career. Though that was then. I am tolerated.
Tolerated? 5 foot anyone aspire to be tolerated? Who cares that people... Who cares what people think of you?
Rated?
Tolerated? 5 foot anyone aspire to be tolerated? Who cares what people think of you?
Well, I kind of have to care. I crossed my arms. Imagine if I simply stopped caring and went around singing whatever I wanted to, or said things that offended my audience. I'd have to be a capable fighter to deal with that. And trust me when I tell you, I am no fighter. Said things that offended my audience. I'd have to be a capable fighter to deal with that. And trust me when I tell you, I am no fighter.
I trust you. You could barely hold the loot aloft last night. I do not struggle to imagine what you would look like wielding a sword.
Once again, thanks. This conversation was doing great things for my ego. Subject change time. So, where will you go now? Kerr rolled his shoulders.
Back to the tavern. I'm hungry and need sustenance. Here's your chance. Don't blow it.
Yeah, I'm starved too. And, given that you destroyed my only means of earning money... Given that you destroyed my only means of earning money, I'll probably go hungry.
My sincerest apologies.
Probably go hungry.
My sincerest apologies.
That's it? That's all you've got for destroying my livelihood? Sorry? He blinked at me, then offered a slight nod, as if the idea of me even questioning that was illogical. How about a consolation gift? Maybe a hearty meal at the tavern? I could use a good one. I've only had last night's solitary bite of lamb in days. Kerr pointed at my tunic.
You have breadcrumbs on the front of your tunic.
I want to say it more like you have your shoes untied, you know.
You have breadcrumbs on the front of your tunic.
Let's see here. Kerr pointed at my... No, shit. Keep doing that. In days. Kerr pointed at my tunic.
You have breadcrumbs on the front of your tunic.
My face went red. Kerr crossed his ridiculously muscled arms.
Is it your custom to lie as much as it seems? That is a very dangerous hobby to pursue, especially to someone twice your size.
Look, Kerr, I only want fair compensation for you destroying my livelihood. A meal won't cost you too much, and as you've already noted, I'm half your size. How much could I possibly eat? Besides, I'm something of a decent conversationalist, and now that you are alone, I let the statement hang in the air, hoping he was as smart as he perceived himself to be. He took a breath and then exhaled. He took a breath and then exhaled. He took a breath and then exhaled.
Indeed, you certainly are better at conversing than you are at singing.
And then exhaled.
Indeed, you certainly are better.
Let's try one more time. Himself to be. He took a breath and then exhaled.
Indeed, you certainly are better at conversing than you are at singing.
Thank you. Wait. Kerr pointed over his shoulder.
I will provide you a meal, but then we must part. I do not intend to take on a new partnership so soon after my last one dissolved.
Hey, I'm good with a one-meal stand. Relationships aren't my thing. Hey, I'm good with a one-meal stand. Relationships aren't my thing. Kerr's brow furrowed.
I have no idea what any of that means.
Forget it. I'll explain later.
Objective completed. You have convinced Kerr to buy you a meal. You have gained plus one. You have gained +1 in speechcraft. Your speechcraft is now 10. New objective. Discover the nature of Kerr's next quest. Reward. The feeling of a job well done. The feeling of a job well done. Reward. The feeling of a job well done.
So demanding. I complete one task and get another before I even have time to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Okay, precious. And you should really eat something more than fruit. Enjoy the meal.
I don't like you. That's a chapter done. How much time we got left? Did we make it through 3 chapters today? 5, 6, 7. And looks like, yeah, I think we can get through 8.
So we're rather short.
Maybe not. We'll see. Yeah, we might be able to make it through 8. Before 3 o'clock. Chapter 8. I fell into step beside Kerr, which was more difficult to do than it sounds, given that his stride was double mine. Certainly wasn't about to complain, not when I'd managed to win him over with my charm.
Wow, you're delusional and clueless.
I did my best to ignore the thing floating in front of my eyes and followed Kerr into the tavern. There were already a few souls drinking away whatever lives they had. The hearth glowed with old embers, nobody caring to get it roaring again so early in the morning. As much as I enjoyed a good lager, I'd never understood the need to drink before noon. Then again, at the moment, I didn't care who was around and what they did. I just wanted something decent to eat and to I just wanted something decent to eat and to forget the nightmare of the lamb. Maybe afterward I could while away the hours until Flem's bargain came to fruition. I wondered if I needed to be anywhere in particular for it to happen. She didn't say so. I mean, what good was magic if it required all these rules to make it work? I decided to just go on about my day and hope the hag would take care of the rest.
Oh, no,
came a voice from the bar. I turned to see Rarmir throwing his towel down and stalking toward us.
What parts of Get Lost hadn't I made clear?
I began to respond when Kerr stepped between us.
Take heart, my friend. This one is my guest.
Rarmir looked between us, muttered a curse, and stomped away.
You truly are not liked here,
Kerr remarked. I noticed. We seated ourselves at a table, and Kerr ordered us 2 big bowls of stew. With water. Water, huh? I asked. Did you want something more? No. I'll just get rid of that. Water, huh?
Did you want something more?
Me? No. I just figured.
Stereotypes are hurtful. Try to be more tolerant.
The front door, swinging open, stole the response out of my mouth. In strolled the pickpocketing troubadours. Maybe they felt like they deserved more praise and affection from the townsfolk. I don't know. Maybe they felt like they deserved more praise and affection from the townsfolk. I don't know. But they looked pissed and apparently decided to head to the tavern to blow off some steam. Loudly, they took their seats a few tables away from us. They ordered several draughts of ale that lasted only seconds. I watched him with a twinge of jealousy. The halfling, in particular, was in a sour mood.
You said I watched him with a twinge.
I watched with a twinge of jealousy.
Nice. You know what? Let's cut that, because he just got finished saying that he doesn't see the point of drinking before noon. That's kind of a weird contradiction.
Okay. I mean, it could be like that's his mental sour grapes, but only seconds. But I don't know. It still doesn't fit. Did only seconds. The halfling, in particular, was in a sour mood. Serves him right for trying to rob me.
Of nothing.
I rolled my eyes. The halfling was a jerk, lambasting the tavern staff, telling them they moved too slow to be good at their jobs. He even flicked a few coins across the floor and ordered them to pick them up if they wanted their pay. Kerr observed the commotion and shook his head. The halfling was... Rolled my eyes. The halfling was a jerk. Can you do a mute there, Steve?
My bad.
It is too early in the day for that sort of behavior.
He glanced at me.
Gives bards a bad reputation, huh?
It was then I realized he'd forgotten my name.
Gives bards a bad reputation, huh?
It was then...
Gives bards a bad reputation. Huh?
It was then I realized he'd forgotten my name. Danny, I told him.
And
he... Oh. Danny. And he's no bard. Just a clown with a pipe. Kerr leaned back and let out a full belly laugh. A
clown with a pipe! Fine joke!
He turned toward the halfling and then back to me.
Your assessment is accurate. He does resemble a clown. Red hair and all.
The halfling heard all of this and scowled. My stomach lurched. The screen flashed. Oh, crap. New objective. Convince the halfling that you didn't insult him. Convince the halfling that you didn't insult him. Between us, he definitely looks like a clown. Between us, he definitely looks like a clown. Between us, he definitely looks like a clown. The halfling made a show of downing the rest of his ale, then hopped off his seat and stormed toward us. Kerr ignored him until he was only 3 feet away. Name? Garvis Wettelman. Garvis Wettelman. Occupation? Thief. Race? Halfling. Male. Special abilities? Sneaky. Quick with hands. Can conceal weapons. Has a vicious knee strike. Weapons? Unknown. Mysterious. So I was right. He isn't a bard. Want a cookie? Does that count as a meal? You spoil your appetite. What did you just say? The halfling Garvis demanded, pulling me back to the present. Kerr took a small sip of his water, smacked his lips, and said,
Well met.
Ed,
Well met.
Ed,
Well met. Well met.
The halfling's face scrunched up like tinfoil. What did you just say when you were laughing?
It was not I who said it, Kerr informed Garvis. It was my friend here. He suggested you resembled a clown with a pipe. Clever.
You? Garvis appraised me. You have the nerve to call me a clown. You look like you slept in a barn. In a barn. Barn. Kerr let out a barking laugh and slapped the table.
He did in fact do that very thing. Look at the straw still in his hair.
Laugh and slapped the table. In a barn. Slapped the table.
He did in fact do that very thing. Look at the straw still in his hair.
Thanks, Kerr, I muttered. As small as Garvis was, he looked angry enough to battle 10 men. Plus, he happened to be built like a small barrel. I cleared my throat. I said, It was amazing how fast you put that ale down. My friend here must have misunderstood.
Not bad. Not bad at all. Not good. Not good either, but not bad. Not good either, but not bad.
Garvis looked somewhat placated by the lie. The screen started to flash again, then curiously disappeared. Kerr nearly spat out his water, as if I'd retold the joke again.
No, your memory fails you, Danny. I clearly recall you saying, "He favored the appearance of a clown with a pipe. I found it an entertaining observation."
He grinned at the halfling.
I think he means your instrument.
Objective failed. You have gained an enemy. A small one, sure, but he's feisty. Objective updated. Defeat the halfling. Defeat what? I stared at Kerr, baffled. He seemed determined to get me killed. Garvis growled and pulled a dagger from his boot. Kerr caught his wrist immediately. I stared at Kerr, baffled. He seemed determined to get me killed. Garvis growled and pulled a dagger from his boot. Kerr caught his wrist immediately. Growled and pulled a dagger from his boot. Kerr caught his wrist immediately.
Ah, thank God. No weapons. There will be no need for bloodshed here. The proprietors of this fine establishment are decent folk.
He nodded toward me.
If you have an issue with my friend, then it will be settled with fists. Fists.
Huh? Huh? I said. Garvis gawked at Kerr's massive hand. Kerr could have lifted him like a feather, and the halfling knew it. All right. Let me make sure. Oh. I need a new button. I need to make a new button. Here we go. There we go. And I did it again. Fuck. Keep doing that. All right. He nodded. That seems fair. I don't think...
Shh, Danny.
Kerr said. Garvis released the dagger, which Kerr caught with his other hand. It may as well have been a sewing needle resting in his oversized palm. The halfling pulled his arm back and rubbed his wrist, then pointed at me. "So I'm a joke to you, is that it? You think you're better because you're tall, Wellick?" I shook my head. "No, Well, let's see if you change your mind when I get done stomping your brains out." I held up my hands, palms out. "There's no need for this. I apologize for insulting you." "No!" Garvis shook his head rather violently, his curly red mop waggling. "What's said is said. I can't let you insult me in front of my friends over there." I looked beyond him at the bar where his dwarf and Wellick companions barely paid attention to the... I love that. I looked beyond him at the bar where his dwarf and Wellick companions barely paid attention to the altercation, as if this were a common occurrence. "I'm not much of a fighter." "Then you'd better learn fast." Garvis got Kerr's attention. If he don't fight, I get to stab him to death."
Obviously.
"Stab him to death."
Obviously.
Kerr agreed. He then clapped as the bowls of stew arrived.
Time to eat.
He pointed at me.
You had better take care of this business if you want the meal I promised. Otherwise, I will be forced to eat yours.
I hate this place. I started to stand, but the moment I did, the little halfling rushed in and tackled me to the ground. My head knocked against the floor, and the few patrons in the tavern exploded in cheers. Garvis started raining blows down upon me. I turned this way and that, trying my best to avoid the assault, but he was remarkably consistent with his strikes despite the amount he'd imbibed. Quick with his hands indeed. His little fists landed like tiny hammers, blasting me in the face 3 times in rapid succession. I tasted blood. "Warning! If you continue to sustain damage like this, you will die." Nothing helped the situation like a blue box popping up in my face. Kerr spoke, but my head was ringing. It sounded like...
You had better find a reason to fight, Bard. This little one is not going to stop until you are dead.
Little one! Garvis spat, turning his attention to Kerr. I took full advantage of this distraction and threw my knee up. It managed to dislodge him. Then I scrambled backward, trying to get to my feet. Garvis regrouped, pointed at Kerr, and said, "You're next, giant!" Then he came at me again, launching a stubby, 2-legged kick that bounced off my left knee and hurt like hell. The vicious knee strike I'd been warned about. Without thinking, I threw my own kick, and it caught Garvis squarely in the crotch. He buckled and moaned from the impact. I felt a rush of guilt. It felt like kicking a kid. I leaned in. In the crotch. He buckled and moaned from the impact. I felt a rush of guilt. It felt like...
Some good moaning.
Yeah, I'm good at it. Oops. I'm sorry! I didn't mean to... I'm sorry! I didn't mean to... I'm sorry! I didn't mean to... There we go. That's a better punch in the jaw. Even as I spoke, the halfling attacked again, catching me by surprise. He landed a punch on my jaw that knocked me back onto the floor. Out of the corner of my quickly swelling eye, I spotted Kerr shaking his head in disapproval as he slurped the stew from his bowl. I vaguely saw him reaching for my meal. I vaguely saw him reaching for my meal. You know, a little help here would be nice! I called to him. He'll get his chance! Garvis snarled as he tried to pin me again. I flailed, and a lucky elbow bashed him in the side of his head. He staggered, clutching his temple. He was wobbly, and I regained my footing before bringing my hands up.
Do it now!
Said Kerr simply. I looked down at my hands and clenched them into fists. This was foreign to me, most of my life, Kurt excluded. I'd been able to avoid fighting by using my quick wit and willingness to flee. But now, excluded, I'd been able to...
Do it!
Taking a deep breath, I delivered a straight shot to the reeling halfling's nose. The impact sent a bolt of pain shooting up my arm, while the effect to Garvis was violent. Blood gushed like a fountain from his nostrils, and the little man's head snapped back. He wobbled, then toppled to the floor where he completely stopped moving. The tavern erupted in cheers again. Did I kill him? I asked, horrified. Objective completed. You have defeated the halfling. You have gained +1 in unarmed combat. You have gained +1 in unarmed combat. Unarmed. You have gained +1 in unarmed combat. Your unarmed combat is now 3. Fuck me, unarmed combat. Unarmed combat. Your unarmed combat is now 3. You have gained +1 in unarmed combat. Your unarmed combat is now 3. Fuck me. You have gained +1 in unarmed combat. Your unarmed combat is now 3. It wasn't pretty, and he was very small. You shouldn't be too proud. Would you like to loot the body? I can do that? Everyone will see me rooting through his pockets. You have an ability to pickpocket. Would you like to use it? I guess. Try it. Without knowing what I was doing, I got my hands under the halfling's armpits and hauled him to his feet. I tried to make it look like I was brushing him off as I did so, holding him there for several seconds as his eyes refocused. Would you like to take the pouch? The pouch?
Would you like to take the pouch?
Somewhat embarrassed at what I was about to do, I nodded a very slight nod. What happened next was almost unconscious. I leaned against the halfling, and my fingers slipped into his pocket, transferring a small pouch of gold onto my person. It all happened so fast. Plus 17 GP. You have gained +1 in pickpocketing. Your pickpocketing is now 9. Congrats! You're a thief! Your mother would be proud. I swore under my breath. A thief? Aye, this is what it's called when you take other people's stuff. Can I put them back? No one saw you did. No one saw you did. Just keep the loot. At least you didn't strip him naked, right? Pickpocketing. Peck. Because it's a Scottish accent. You gotta go peck. Naked, right? I was starting to believe the screen didn't have my best interests at heart. Not that Garvis didn't deserve it. He tried to do the same to me out on the street. But still, I'd never stolen before. Oh, you're no longer a virgin. A tiny bit richer. I steered the halfling back to his comrades and then returned to my table. Bravo! Kerr said. He kicked out my chair.
Now sit and eat.
He slid what remained of my bowl back to me. The stew looked chunky and unappetizing, but it beat rotten lamb big time. I sat and forced myself to eat a few spoonfuls, then found myself enjoying it. All the while, I kept a wary eye on Garvis the halfling. Kerr stretched across the table and laid a huge hand on my shoulder.
Do not worry about him. You earned his respect enough that he will leave you alone now.
I took another spoonful of stew. I've never fought like that before. Kerr nodded.
That is obvious. You punch like a win. You punch like a win.
Always there to cheer me up.
Win.
Always there to cheer me up.
You did what needed to be done, but it was not very nice to look at. You are lucky the halfling was inebriated. Had he been sober, it might have been a different story.
I rubbed my jaw. He didn't seem too affected by the booze.
You will have some bruises and welts, no doubt,
Kerr continued as if I hadn't spoken.
But that is good!
How is that good?
That is good!
How is that good?
But that is good!
How is that good?
That is good!
How is that good?
They will remain a temporary reminder. They will remain a temporary reminder that you cannot let people walk all over you.
I rubbed my cheek. I suppose. And girls dig guys with battle scars, right?
No. The world cares not a bit for you, my friend. The world cares not a bit for you, friend. You either find a way to make peace with the fact that sometimes violence is necessary, or else you are not going to live long enough to find yourself a new loot.
Wait a second.
Dun, dun, dun!
And that's the chapter.
There it
That's
is.
the chapter.
There it is.
All right, 3 minutes left in the hour. That's awesome. Pretty much timed it perfectly. All right, guys. Well, that is our cold read for today. Tomorrow, I'm picking up at the exact same time, noon Central. And I think then Wednesday, it'll be a full 5 hours, and that'll be it for the cold reads. So, are you coming back tomorrow?
I'm going to try.
Mr. Jaime?
I'm going to try. Yep.
All righty, great. Well, we're starting on chapter 9 tomorrow. Hopefully I'll see you guys then. Hope you had a wonderful time. And if you guys subscribe to the channel, you will get notifications about when it is starting. Noon Central, tomorrow and the day after. No, the day after it'll be 10 a.m., not noon. Anyway, tomorrow, noon Central. See you guys there, hopefully. Y'all have a good rest of your day.